Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity and to avoid us talking too fast, for those of you listening at 1.25x or faster, we've decided to make this here episode a drinking game. So anytime, you're just going to give me that awkward pause. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah.
So anytime,
Yeah.
anytime we say anything negative about a film, each other, that little tiny glass John's drinking out of, you're going to hear the sound because we like to keep it positive. So we hope you drink along with us.
So pour yourselves a glass and we're going to talk about a movie that reminds us all the fucking things science forgot when they learned about AI in the Terminator.
I think I got that. Yes. Guys, you know what? Every time I type M3GAN into IMDb, I just type the E. You know what I mean? I just don't feel like typing the 3. And then this other M3GAN from 2020 is the first result. And then Babylon comes underneath it and it pisses me off. But that's probably because that's my search history. But I like, because we're doing Babylon in our next episode. But it's like you literally, I have to hit the number 3 to spell M3GAN. And it's just, it makes it more complicated.
The title of the movie, you dick.
They know what I'm looking for. The movie came out this weekend. Guys, M3GAN came out, and within 24 hours, it had outgrossed Babylon, which came out 3 weeks ago. It's too bad. Guys, we'll talk about Babylon next week.
I mean, didn't do that first.
And we're going to talk about it in an hour after we've been drinking a little bit. Thank you so much for joining us in our episode to talk about M3GAN, the episode that reminds you, if you have a school outdoors, you got to put up a fence. You just... You can't. You
That's
can't
not
just.
even a spoiler. That's in the trailer too.
You gotta fence everybody in. You know, you don't have to herd sheep or anything, but like you need to know the acreage. You need to know your property limits here. All right. You got to think about this. All right. You got to think these things through. Who insures your school? Okay. So we're talking about M3GAN. This is another. Blumhouse is back. He loves these January.
M3GAN.
No, in the movie, they I feel like they purposefully say M3GAN. They never say M3GAN. They're always like M3GAN.
I feel like I heard more on the side of M3GAN than M3GAN.
No,
if we're talking about where they're leaning.
Like M3GAN. It's like how they say in this movie.
I think the little kid definitely fucking called her M3GAN. The little girl was like, turn M3GAN back on.
It was not a pure ass sound, I'm saying. This movie, this movie co-stars Allison Williams, who in the New York Times review, the official New York Times review of this movie, M3GAN, the second line out of nowhere, the reviewer just goes, Allison Williams has a knack for playing these roles, or she has no talent. Literally, like out of nowhere, she just shames her. He's like,
for the New York Times.
I'm going to drink with him for bringing it up, but.
That's awful.
And then he continues and he goes, but she really has figured out a knack with Get Out, her work at Girl. She knows how to really terrify you and thrill you. And I was like, then why did you even put it in our heads that she might suck? It doesn't make any sense why they did that. This has been our latest edition of Review the Reviewer, where we remind you each week.
Reviewers is that your gripe?
No.
Okay.
Arsehole reviewers don't count as a gripe.
I forget who that was. Yeah. That wasn't one of the usuals of the New York Times. It wasn't A.O. Scott or Wesley Morris. I forget who it was. Okay, sorry.
People
we got the
same quality programming from the sound of it, though.
If you're new to our show, we try to keep it spoiler free for about 10 minutes or so in case you haven't seen the movie yet. This movie just came out this past week. I believe it was #1 at the box office, as I just was alluding to. So spoiler free for a couple minutes. At the end of the episode, we're going to give you our recommendations with our segment, What You've Been Watching. Before we get into the episode, we're going to give you our gripes of the week. So if you're just here for M3GAN, scoot along a couple minutes, but we're going to get to the gripes in a second. But first, let's shout our sponsors out. Mr. John, go ahead.
We have a beer sponsor. His name is Carlos Barroso. You can find him. His handle is cbarroso.beer. Go over there to the Instagram, give him some like, give him some love, give him some messages. The musical artist that has been with us since the very beginning goes by the name Dasein, Dasein. You can find their music available for free on all the usual music platforms. Head on over to Spotify or Google Music or YouTube and follow, get all that music for free. And please come at us as well. Like, love us. All the stuff is in our show notes, our link tree. We are on the socials.
Is he on Apple
Music?
Music?
Message us. We will get back to you. Please review us. Please review us. Please review us. Say something. Helps so much.
Dasein's not on Apple Music yet because that's where we have most of our audience.
Is he
Apple
not?
Music.
Is he not? I think he is. You know what? I'll look it up. I'm not totally sure.
Is it because of the stuff in China?
I don't know. He went through one of those distributors where you like pay and they kind of like splash you onto most of the music platforms.
We know it well.
They have kind of their own like way of doing it, and it's been pretty successful. It's had tens of thousands of listens on some things so far. Pretty cool.
Nice.
We could use some of that action.
Yeah, we should pay
send
some
it
people to splash us around.
Yes, we should pay some people to splash us around.
Oh boy, Babylon! Don't go there too quickly. The giant dick at the beginning. The giant.
We'll talk about that next week.
All right,
We'll talk about it in our next episode. Dave,
you don't open with giant dick. God.
So I want to get into our episode. So should we? Anything else you want to say before we get into our gripes of the week? Any news you want to talk about? It's the new year. Cool.
Yeah. No, all right, Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back.
Who's got a gripe? Who's got a gripe?
I got one.
All right, Dave. Start the gripe time.
All right. So, because we're on TikTok now, we throw a couple of clips on TikTok, and I've taken to browsing TikTok occasionally to see what's out there. Follow a couple of other podcasts that are like us, and I came across this one where it was like Netflix has cancelled Wednesday, and here's why they've cancelled Wednesday, and this is why it happened, and Wednesday is cancelled. And 4 hours later, Netflix renewed Wednesday for season 2. I'm like, why the fuck do these people get on there and just lie? Like, what is the point? I know, like, people are probably going to sit there and watch that to go, oh, why is Wednesday cancelled? I really like Wednesday. And if you're just doing it for the views, that's kind of pathetic.
I mean, we literally live in the world now that's like, a witch, where? Oh, no, never mind.
Yeah.
A witch, where?
She turned me into a newt. I've got better.
Now, were they saying Netflix is canceling Wednesday, or are they saying Wednesday's canceled?
They said Netflix has cancelled Wednesday. That was the exact wording of the TikTok, and it was a voiceover. It was a guy doing a voiceover going, they've cancelled Wednesday, and this is why they've cancelled Wednesday.
Also, use your terminology, people. It's not canceled. It was never renewed yet. It was not yet renewed, and then it was renewed. It wasn't canceled. Like, it's not like in the middle of the season they just stopped making episodes. Get your terminology right, people.
I mean, they published that article where they scared the fuck out of everyone because it looked like Amazon owned it for a bit there. It looked like Wednesday wasn't trending anymore. These mother.
Now the next season's not going to come out for 18 months. So Wednesday, just let it go. Let it go. It's not going to catch Squid Game. Just rewatch nicely into number 2.
Rewatch it. It's fun.
All right, John. We got 2 episodes this week. You have a gripe for us?
I do. Hit it.
All right.
This one is tale as old as time for any moviegoer. Unfortunately, I just saw M3GAN at a Sunday and a prime time. I saw it at like 4 something late in the afternoon, and I had a terrible viewing experience because most people that go to the movies during like your weekend, big time hours suck. It's just how it is. So I recommend going during the matinees or going on weeknights. It was loud, it was chatty, good for M3GAN. It was a packed house, bad for everybody in the theater because there were a bunch of douchebags there on their fucking phones the whole time and talking the whole time.
Yep.
So that's unfortunate. I sat next to 3 people who are probably 15 years younger than me at least, and I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not exaggerating at all. They were literally on their phones the entire time, listening to videos, texting, scrolling. It was unbelievable. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to get in a fucking fight with fucking teenagers, but Jesus Christ.
Right.
I'm saying this because I understand why some of our listeners was that for me?
That was you. You went too long.
That was your minute.
Yeah, for going over. I'm saying this
that's important
because I have had loose, casual, anecdotal conversations with people who say I don't like going to the movies anymore because every time you go, this happens. You're not wrong. I'm encouraging you to go at different times. It is cheaper if you go before certain hours, those matinee prices, or I encourage everybody to consider going on the weeknights because if I didn't love movies as much as I do, this would not make me want to go to the theater either.
Yeah, I had that shit too. I had people running around. People in the front row just kept getting up and walking around. People were blatantly recording the screen. Like, I could see it from 10 rows back. I saw people recording the screen.
That's a thing.
It's unbelievable. One funny moment. A woman, it sounded like a woman, a very grown-ass woman, got into a fight, a verbal altercation with somebody towards the front because they were making too much noise. And the woman started yelling at them and talking, and the movie kind of quieted down just enough, and we could all kind of hear it. And all you heard her, the last thing she said was, I wish M3GAN would fuck you up.
Oh my God, for that lady, we got to play the Gush alarm. She just won the Oscar. Come on down.
It was funny. It was
Accept
funny.
her word for our favorite dig, of course. I had somebody Nothing's gonna top that. I had somebody in the front row vaping, so literally the smoke was coming up on the screen.
Was it Jeff? Wasn't it you that had
I'm
someone?
not kidding.
Didn't someone moon someone in one of your audiences once?
Oh, that's the longest story that I have in my back pocket. But yes, I
think
got
that's
I got
what is the
mooned.
story. That's got to be the story. Somebody
honestly,
mooned you in a movie theater.
No, it has to be its whole episode. She mooned
Yeah.
us twice, but it came as security was escorting her out because we had to stop the movie. It's a very long story.
Wow.
It's for another time. It's a good one. I haven't told that story in a while. It's good.
All right, Jeff, what you got?
Okay, go ahead. Okay, Facebook. I hate that Facebook still exists. I hate it so much. I mean, we got Brazil going on right now. It's Brazil. It's Facebook's fault. I don't care if you don't give me any other reasons. January 6th, Facebook's fault. Philippines, Myanmar, their fault. Hate, their fault. But let me keep my pictures. Why are my pictures so blurry? What the fuck happened? When I took those pictures and I put them on Facebook, they weren't blurry. And now someday I'm like, you know what? I really want to find a picture with that one person I know I have from 10 years ago. And it looks like someone tried to light an ant on fire where my face used to be. What the fuck happened to my face in these pictures? There's no way I posted that where it looks like I'm looking at a telescope at fucking Venus in the middle of the night. And that's supposed to be my fucking face now? And I'm here trying to share this memory with my friend and something that, I mean, what has happened to this picture over time? It just got graded and graded and graded. Like it's the fucking Back to the Future and montage when everybody's starting to die off. What happened to my memories?
Why did you go? Yeah, why were you on trying to find a picture anyway?
Have you had yourself tested for cataracts recently?
He's never had the best vision. He's never.
Hey, my vision is fantastic when corrected.
Yeah, with some accessories.
Just
why
that,
were you
I wanna-
on Facebook?
Because I know, I have a picture with this person. I want to find it. It's on Facebook. We tagged each other 12 years, whatever it was. I don't know.
I
Who
did
knows?
too.
I feel you.
It's my
I
memories.
pulled all my
That's not-
videos and pictures off of Facebook and deleted all that stuff.
But now,
I'm
if you want to
trying to,
find that picture with you
pull
and
away.
with you, me, and Dave from 6 years ago when we lived together, you can't just type in Dave and our picture comes up. Fuck.
Yeah, of course. Well,
that was
yeah,
it was such a good idea. It was like a built-in catalog for us to be able to like with a glossary and an index.
I think the sentence you just said could be said about all of Facebook's history. It was such a good idea.
Yeah.
At one point, it was a great idea that has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, it was a wonderful idea.
I'm talking to you, Mark.
Literally,
Mark?
literally created so that he could rag on girls that knocked him back for dates. Who could have thought it would turn into something so bad?
That's a terrible fucking idea. I guess at some point along the way it made sense. The original conception was made by a fucking douchebag narcissist that should probably be put in jail.
Do you know when Facebook in-house had their own staff say, yes, we are causing the mental health crisis in the world?
Yes.
Mark Zuckerberg closed the file and said, please don't show me these anymore. And that's
Honestly,
true.
dude,
He literally said, I don't want to hear about this anymore.
That reporting on Instagram stuff and with children that came out over a year ago, all that leaked stuff, anyone who hasn't listened to that, fucking listen to it. It is disgusting. The implications are crazy. It's so explicit. We all fucking know it, and these people still use it. It's really gross.
You guys ready to talk about
Instagram
Megan?
kids.
Yeah, we should probably get into it.
Let's go to launch Instagram kids. Yeah, sure.
Instagram
Let's talk
fucking
about other
kids.
attachment
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
What a perfect segue. We're talking about Megan. Shut up. I know. I heard it that time. I heard it. We're talking about Megan this week, starring Allison Williams, starring a girl who actually played Megan. That's something that would be really fun. Another girl who is the voice of Megan. Ronny Chieng from The Daily Show is in this movie. Those are all like the recognizable famous names, but Blumhouse people, apparently James Wan is involved in this because of the new company that they have together, but it was his story idea, which he shared with Akela Cooper. This is directed by Gerard Johnstone. I think it's only a second feature, but he's done some, series
I just want to
that
bring it back.
none of us have heard of.
The girl who actually played Megan was Amie Donald, and she is Kiwi from New Zealand, 12 years old, and did her own stunts.
Get out of here. Those stunts are so cool. Do those stunts include when she's being thrown around?
Yes.
I mean, oh my God, that is so cool. Okay, Amie Donald, the new above the title star of Megan. I'm going to keep fucking saying it. All right. I'm ready to get into our spoiler-free discussion here. Here's the IMDb pitch, and then I'm going to pass it along to you folks to give me your initial takeaways. What'd you think? What'd you feel? I'm like the fucking New York. I'm kidding, okay. A robotics engineer at a toy company builds a lifelike doll that begins to take on a life of its own. Who wants to go first?
Boo.
Yeah.
I love how we keep reading them. We hate the IMDb descriptions. We just read them every single week.
You're never going to do
I
it justice, to be honest. But
Yeah.
All right, Dave, then do it justice.
dude, I want to say an almost packed house. Like there were so many people in there that AMC had 2 concession stands open on 2 floors.
Oh yeah, how fast were they moving?
Wow.
Well, it was actually the opposite of what we were complaining about last year, where like there were like 50-something people in the normal line and no one in the AMC the line. And so I walked.
Why didn't you call us right away?
I walked straight up and pissed 50 people right off. It was great.
This is why we got A-list. I thought that was the whole point of the line.
Yeah,
to
it's
piss
back.
these people
It's
off
back,
to
baby.
buying A-list.
A-list and movies are back.
I thought it turned into the TSA pre-check in fancy airports like Nantucket, where you show up and everybody's like, "Aw," because everybody has it. Sorry, Dave. Back to you.
I want to say me and my audience had a great time with this. It doesn't make, in my opinion, it doesn't make any promises in the trailer it doesn't keep. It's not much more than that, but it's so much fun you don't care. Like this is the twist on this is how much fun they had with it. And it paints humans in such a really poor light that you're kind of rooting for M3GAN for half the movie. It's like, yeah, go on, just
weird, right?
waste that fucking guy, like waste that person, like waste the neighbor, waste whatever. And it walks a really fine line. Like it can keep its horror badge, but it's wearing a thriller jacket, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Like I said, I had a packed house as well and a miserable viewing experience, but people definitely had they had a lot of fun. There were some really genuinely funny little moments. We can't say this enough. This is not a scary movie. It's not. I don't think it's supposed to be. It was marketed in such a way that they might think maybe we'll get the horror crowd to come. It's Blumhouse, but it's really not scary.
This is a cautionary tale for Google. That's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing about this movie,
If they still make the doll after seeing this movie, they're still going to make the doll.
Yeah, I would probably not see this movie if we didn't have a podcast where we decided to see this movie. But I did enjoy the one nugget of very real truth, observational on what the essence of this story is. When the child psychologist talks to the toy creator, Allison Williams, about attachment issues, and that had a lot of resonance for me as I was sitting next to these young people who couldn't get off their phones, and it's something I think about a lot, are dependencies on screens and screen time and
art in front of you, life to the left. It's like
yeah. So I mean that really rung true for me, and I thought that the dialogue was really well written in that scene. So it elevated it beyond the sardonic and maybe almost satirical twists on some tropes from horror movies that you might come to expect from things like Blumhouse. You're going to get exactly what you pay for and nothing more, and probably nothing less. I think most people would laugh at this kind of movie. And you'll probably, if you want to go see a movie in an audience that is going to be very responsive, this is probably that kind of movie. It was okay. It was all right. It was pretty good.
Nice. I agree. I think my audience, which was slightly better than John's, but mostly worse than most of my other audiences, was very vocal though, which in some ways was good.
Yeah, mine too.
I mean, I don't need verbal, I don't need sentences. It better be the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life if you give me a sentence, to shout out about something. But
I've got another good one. We got another good one. About halfway through, this guy in the back of the audience goes, "It's not scary yet."
everyone's a critic.
Oh my God, that's good. Okay, that's good. That's what I'm talking about. You gotta. It's risky.
He telling you or trying to convince himself? I
think he was just saying, speaking his mind.
There are a couple of tense moments in it, but not much.
It's like. I almost wish it was just like a Team America level comedy, because there were a couple moments that it basically was.
Yeah. I kind of wish they had gone further that way too. Yeah.
If I watched this by myself at home, I wouldn't have liked it as much. That's just the truth.
I mean,
I think you're right.
Yeah, that's what you don't watch a Blumhouse by yourself.
Right. And you know what? I'm glad it's weird to say because I always wish movies were really surprising, of course. But also, trailers and marketing are so much like you bring shit in with you and you see a trailer and, like I still am thinking about the fact that Brad Pitt didn't fall off the ledge in Babylon, even though he did in the trailer. You know what I mean? Like stupid, like you can't help it. It's part of it. But like with this movie,
he does fall off the ledge.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did.
I don't think he.
We'll talk about that later.
He did it at a different time because he didn't go dick. He doesn't do the
yeah.
dance. That's a different take. Okay, fuck you guys. Shut up, both of you. Okay, but in this movie, shut up. Can't call me a cunt. Get out of here. In this movie, there is nothing wholly original about this, and they are not ashamed to admit it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And it's like you could throw the comparisons, her and honestly the Miley Cyrus Black Mirror is probably almost exactly this. It's like literally almost the exact same thing. Let alone with the Chuckies and all that, those kinds of things, and then
Annabelle.
But Annabelle. So I'm glad that it's like. Even this IMDb thing's bullshit. I've seen other things that were like they developed a doll that started killing people. Like I just like
this is the second one in the genre. Like what the fuck happened to James Wan when he was a child?
I mean,
Chucky, he's fucking horror.
Right.
He probably just grew up obsessed with Chucky.
I will admit I hate like. I feel like this is one of my criticisms of these critics that I just said to these fucking guys. But like, whenever there's like one negative thing, and I say if the movie's 3% negative, they spend 97% of their article writing about the 3% negative. I will say the first scene with the three programmers, Ronny, Chieng, and his assistant, the five of them where they're arguing, and it's essentially the plot of the movie. It was so stiff. I thought the acting performances were terrible. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be bad. I was worried about it. I knew that the gags were going to be fun, but it seemed like everybody was reading the lines exactly the way they read them on the page out loud. And I was like, man, it's going to be one of those.
Other moments of that, I think, as well.
But for the most part, it eased and settled, and
Yeah.
I liked it. And you know what? The genre thing, I kind of get what the New York Times reviewer was saying, where it's like Allison Williams is never, you know what? If you're looking at your Mario Kart, and you've got speed and acceleration and you have these little bars. She's never at a 10 on any of them. You know what I mean? So it's like I never... I'm not trying to knock it. I'm saying for this kind of movie, it leaves me in this kind of like bewilderment where I'm like, what's going on? And then it allows for more element of surprise. I'm saying good things about the movie. I'm praising the movie here.
Yeah.
So I think her performance in this works out really well.
I'll jump on and also point out that kind of just like what you've been saying for everything else, it's competently filmed.
Oh yeah.
There's not such
Are
a
we being
unique
passive aggressive now in this film, or
No. I mean, I know what you mean. Like but it does sit in that place, and I don't feel comfortable saying that as a criticism. We're not that snooty. There's nothing wrong with the way it's presented. It's not presented in such an original way that you feel like you're watching something that only could have been made by this team. And James Wan did not direct this. But I do feel that way about some of James Wan's directorial work.
Right.
This movie is just very competently, simply presented. And if you're looking for that kind of thing in a cold winter with a bunch of dark, very heavy, brilliant dramas that you maybe don't feel like doing the work for, you might enjoy this thing.
You don't feel like doing the work for you, fucking asshole.
One of the things I did love is
John's really thrilled that we decided to watch this movie and then as compared to all the Oscar movies. This is
Salieri's, Salieri's final speech when he's being wheeled through the asylum in Amadeus. If you do, then you know what I'm talking about.
You are exalted. What does he say? What is he?
I guarantee at least 50% listening are going, Amadeus?
Yeah.
Come on, won 8 Oscars, people. Dave, what were you going to say?
I've never seen it.
Fuck Dave!
We just found should have seen that by now, I think.
I've heard the song. Fucking hell.
What does Patrick
You just
say?
said you
What does
heard
Colin
the
Farrell's-
song. It's fucking Mozart. You heard the song. It's not
Colin
like they sing
Farrell's
I Believe I
character
Can
say?
Fly at the end. What does
Jeff, what does Colin Farrell's character say in Banshee when Brendan Gleeson's like, and everybody knows his first name, and he's like, I don't, so there goes that theory.
Yeah, that's
the song.
I did like how they played similar games with light in the back of frames, like Barbarian did.
Are we talking about M3GAN?
Yes, we are. Because yeah.
Sorry. Yes, I loved it too. Sorry.
Amadeus was
Barbarian,
too
yeah.
bright. There was a lot of reflection off the wigs.
I liked Allison Williams' home worked really well for this. I'm really glad that her garage just turned into a
home.
state-of-the-art production studio. It's fantastic.
Cool production design. Yeah, I'll give that up. That was
No, I'm just talking about the
it
way
was
they
all
use
very pleasant.
the way they use the shadow. I kind of like I love that absence of light thing, and I know Barbarian used it best, where like you can't see a thing until it runs into the light. Like they did that a couple of times.
Are you talking about the garage moment where she comes?
That, and there was a couple of other ones that were kind of good.
was great.
But
I also want to give it up for.
sadly, that won't translate to a home market because video on demand, you're not going to get the same effect on that.
No way, you're definitely not. I don't know if people understand that at home, but the way certain streamers, their buffering programs, that you're not going to be able to see the same levels of depth and contrast.
Did you know
color.
there are some dickheads that still watch movies with their sports settings on?
It's been years. You came to my house. You came to my house like months after I got my TV and my system was set up. And fuck, man.
Listeners, in case you haven't caught on to what we're talking about, every single new television, every single one of them has usually two default settings: anti-blur and a motion setting. It's something, both of them are dedicated to people who like to watch sports and games. It's a default setting on television. Turn them off if you want it to look like TVs used to look, and if you want it to look closer to what movies used to look like.
Pretty
we
much
have those frame rates set for a purpose.
Auto contrast, auto color, all that shit. Turn it off. It doesn't help you in the slightest.
Look up your. I recommend looking up your television's. Look up your television's THX recommendations to get the correct color settings if you like to watch movies with the color that's intended. Somebody like Dave, who's a fucking colorist, we do all this fucking work to try to make it look a certain way, and then your sports setting brighten the fucking shit out of everything. There goes all our contrast.
Guys.
And your anti-blur, your motion settings destroy all of the movement that we have put into it. All looks like you're looking through a fucking window.
Or when you get the chance, just go and buy a Dolby Vision TV. It comes with a sidecar. It literally fucking does.
Yeah, go buy one of those.
Yeah, just go and get one of them.
Keep it going. Let's talk about lighting kits. What's your favorite lighting kit? Who's your favorite designer of audio software? Like, keep it going.
I think people should know. I think
I'm
people should
partial
know
to
this.
DaVinci Resolve Fairlight at the moment because that's what we mix our podcast down in.
We are due for sponsorship, I should say.
I am perhaps you've heard of the company Avid. Pro Tools is what I typically work in for audio.
Yeah, I don't like Pro Tools.
Let's get back.
Guys, what is you can design Megan pretty quick. So I wonder what software. What software do you think she used? What?
Software on Megan, inside her fucking brain. Is that what you're talking about?
Type. You got
they
yourself
named
some
it, right? They were
software.
like a B1 chip. Is that like Mike? Is that off the M1 chip, the Apple thing? One thing, in all seriousness, I did want to point out was the subtle makeup adjustments, in part with the lighting that Dave's talking about, to show you if Megan had, in some moments, she was more sinister than others. And they did I think they did a little bit of makeup on this doll at certain moments to make her seem a little bit more menacing. And I thought that was, actually kind of cool.
Should we go into spoilers here? Now,
I mean,
Yeah,
it's spoiled.
sure,
The dog kills people. Like,
yeah, but like we're
You've
going
seen
to talk
this
about
trailer,
details.
you know what this movie's about.
Yeah, most of the movie
movie
is in the trailer. I'm going to turn this on anyway because I'm going to start talking tech here.
right, spoilers.
The doll itself, like, funny you should bring up the makeup because it seemed like a combination of like human prosthetic supplemented with robotic occasionally, and VFX possibly for the eyes and a couple of other things. There's one the scene with the sunglasses where she walks in with the sunglasses and takes them off. The face looks CG. It's almost like they've used a CG face for the sunglasses removal for some reason. Possibly because, maybe wearing the stuff she couldn't see it or whatever. But there are times when the doll does look distinctly different, and I think that might be when they've tried to use CG instead of the practical. That might be what we're picking up on there, because it looks fairly consistent all the way through, but there are definitely times you can tell that like that face doesn't look the same as the face in the next shot.
And maybe not to give them more credit than they deserve, but
Give them credit.
part of
Why are we
me
knocking them
wondered-
down?
well, no, I'm just not sure if they intended it, but part of me wondered if now that is a tool in our arsenal as filmmakers working with this kind of technology, that uncanny valley does give you that feeling of unease.
Yeah.
And part of me wondered if they did that on purpose because all of us were kind of like, ooh.
I mean, all of
Like
that
it's a
went.
little, like it just bothers you a little bit sometimes, and I think
Yeah.
they may have meant to.
All
My
of those
favorite
shots went
reaction
through
of the whole
directorial
movie.
approval. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
My favorite reaction in the whole movie is when that teacher is looking through the car and she's like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" When she turns and looks at her.
That was good. That teacher was great. What a scene.
Yeah, that was
That
funny.
teacher
She did her
didn't need to
job.
do
She had like 4 lines.
She didn't need to do any prep. She needed to read the scene and say, "Okay, just do your job."
So yeah, because
funny.
one thing they won't do is reveal how they did the doll. Anyone who asks, they're like, "Yeah, it's kind of a combination of all three at times, whatever." And I've seen some behind the scenes footage, and there are definitely times when it is just a pathetic face on. But I think when she's talking,
it had
they're
to
using
be, right?
robotics.
Yeah.
It could be her, like moving her jaw to drive that. It might not be like robotic, but at the moment, no one can really tell how it's done because I think they've just overlapped. It's almost like they've got 3 techniques. They've got like the practical, the robotic, and the VFX, and they've just adjusted the dials depending on what they needed in each shot. So there's different combinations on whatever they needed.
I like Dave's hypotheses
why
of the
did
week.
she,
You've been pretty good at guessing how they did it the past couple of weeks. You have a pretty good track record going now. We should follow up on some of these. Avatar, you nailed that water coming off the skin. John, what were you saying?
You did nail that. Why does she run on all 4s when we evolved to run faster
I don't know.
standing up?
Maybe she
That
didn't
was-
evolve faster. I don't know. It's definitely just because it looked cool.
It
And it made me
looked
think
creepy as
of
fuck.
same writer, Akela Cooper, who also wrote *Malignant*. That chick eventually moved on all 4s too. So I think they just kind of like the aesthetic of it moving that way. But that one threw me a little bit. One thing to praise / I don't know if I enjoyed this very much, but I think they did it on purpose and I think they pulled it off. Just to give you like a nutshell of the kind of camp which is why I think they were winking toward us the whole time. When Allison Williams at the very end runs into her storage shed, her workshop, to try to get away from M3GAN, and she does the classic, she just pulls things down like in M3GAN's
And
way,
it didn't bother M3GAN
it
at all.
It like doesn't intrude her path at all. Like there were so many things like that where it was just kind of like they do. I gotta give it to them because I know they're doing these things on purpose. It just always feels a little silly, and you just have to be ready for that.
Well, the other thing I felt they leaned on, it's like this movie is very predictable, but when the payoff happens, you're like, yeah, that's what I was waiting for. Like it's almost like they reward.
Yeah, it's a reward.
That predictability. But the one thing I was looking forward to and didn't get was when she activates Robbie. I think it was
Bruce.
Bruce.
Buddy. Was it Bruce?
Bruce.
Hello.
You fucking guys, get out of here.
Fish are friends,
My
not
name's
food.
Bruce. Yeah.
It's just a little bite, mate.
What about it? It's just a little.
Yeah. No, when she activates the robot, the one thing I was waiting for was "Get away from her, you bitch."
That was good.
Like
When
the child.
I wanted that kid to say that.
Yeah, we love when kids curse. I mean,
Well, I was waiting for the alien
sure,
moment.
Yeah, they killed that boy pretty quickly, didn't they? Fucking killed that kid.
I don't know. There was the whole ear pull. That went on for a long time.
The ear pull was.
See,
It
they
was
really
good.
pulled it.
They read
I
full.
don't know if a human ear would have sustained that kind of
Yeah,
pulling.
look. What's for a
That's
tech
part of
for
the fun.
For a tech sci-fi movie, the science doesn't always check out, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Like it's.
I mean, we can test that out right now. Jeff, get some pliers.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure the human ear can only sustain 8 pounds of pressure.
Sean, stop.
That's what I heard once
All right,
before.
fucking Dexter.
Fucking Dexter. Dexter knows the poundage.
Do you guys want to just talk about Dexter instead of M3GAN?
No,
let's talk about
worst
lighting
fucking
rigs.
ending of a series ever.
Yeah, but how about season 4? You guys remember John Lithgow?
Guys, how
Do you
can
guys
you
remember
forget
that?
John Lithgow? Season
Best
4,
fucking scene ever.
Season 1, and
When he
season
lost
4.
it in the kitchen. Oh my god, I got
That's great.
goosebumps now just talking
The
about it.
opening
Like,
scene of that whole season, the first murder in the bathtub and his weeping. God, it's fucking moving.
no, for me it was when he
He has
lost
the
it.
longest legs. He has the most beautiful, long, giant,
tall.
like
He's very
ostrich
tall.
man
It
legs.
was, for
He's
me,
very tall.
it was when he threatened him and he just lost it in the kitchen and put him on the ground, and you're like, oh, that's a fucking predator.
That's
Like, yeah.
is no good. The Trinity.
Yeah, right.
Trinity.
The Trinity Killer. Good call.
What else can we talk about Megan? Some of the performance. What do you think about the?
I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think about Katie? Katie and Megan's relationship. I thought they handled that pretty well. Where it was you can get away with it because every scene it's just be really angry this scene, and then the next scene it's like you don't want to, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to talk to anybody except for Megan. So
I kind of wanted them to make Allison Williams' character have a lot more difficulty being the guardian. Like they touch upon it. It is in the story. I'm not saying they didn't establish it, but she kind of solved her problem. Again, here's that camp. Katie says, if I had a toy like this, I'd never want anything else in the world. Problem solved. And they montage into her like making the robot overnight, and then problem solved is my new guardian. Of course, the issues are reintroduced with the attachment and this fucking doll going nuts. But I kind of wanted her to have a little bit more desperation and urgency for why she would be willing to put her niece through this experiment without. It just seems so. There was like an ease to her going into this, and I think it took some of the tension away from a character that could have felt way more conflicted about putting her niece through this and just being a guardian in general. There was none of that. And I don't know why they avoided it.
I got more from that. Like when she basically failed the first social worker interview, and she was like, "I need to do something to fix this," and that was her fix. And then she's tried to sell the idea to the social worker. So it was like, I can't fix this. I need a device to fix this.
Well, then I don't know if it's in. The idea is in there. It's in the writing, but so I don't know if it's in the performance.
Which again throws back on the guys in your audience.
Maybe, but I just feel like they missed opportunities. It's somewhere in the second act, after the middle of the movie when we're kind of moving in towards the climax area. I guess I don't know. I guess I just wanted her to feel like I wanted to see that moment where she knew this was so fucked up, but she was so incapable of being a good guardian otherwise that she kept putting her into this situation. And I didn't feel that there was any emotional tension around that at all. And I don't know, that took something away from me.
I just watched the Madoff documentary. That's what happens. It gets worse and worse. It spirals and spirals, and it gets more and more out of control. The more
do you want to talk about that instead?
No.
How's that?
No. What if when Allison Williams was telling the girl, like, you need to go through these. Your parents died. You need to be sad. You need to be angry because this is the craziest thing that nobody can explain. You get a parent. And then what if the kid just said, yeah, but do you really want to be a part of this? And Allison was just like, good question.
Shit,
good question. This
that was a well-written scene.
But no, because the point is that Allison Williams is almost learning from the message she's spontaneously saying, where she's like, oh yeah, shit, this is what it is. Oh, and now we're making an emotional connection. And this is where in Inside Out, they get the complex thoughts at the end. And boom, now we got either a sequel or we got a conclusion.
Let me just track it. I'm Allison Williams. I'm the actor. I'm looking at my script and I'm talking to my director, Gerard Johnstone.
And you're picturing exactly how to say the lines with feeling, just like right on the sweet spot.
Sure. I'm trying to get emotional about this.
I'm hovering on the buzzer right now.
So she doesn't actually question. She doesn't genuinely say this is a bad idea until she suspects the doll of murder. That's the moment where she takes it to her friends and she's like, we got to decommission her. She killed someone.
Also, it's not even the first murder. It's the second murder where she sees murder. Where she well, third if you count the dog. It's the third and you see the body
they
and she still isn't that worried about it.
They killed the kid. They killed the dog. It's the two things you do not do in a film. Like
she still is explaining.
And this kid's still in the house.
Yeah, but luckily it's Annabelle who did that. So like really, Allison Williams should have to face some of those consequences for letting this happen. But Annabelle, Megan, shut up. Megan did it. You sons of bitches.
Let's talk about Annabelle.
I do. One of the things that gets me is
wait, hold on. Wait. I was making a point.
Right.
Fuck. What was my point? You talk. I forget my point. She sees the body.
Oh
yes, this is. That's right. She sees the body, and she still is just kind of like, you know what? I think I should tomorrow. I should convince my friends that we shouldn't release the doll because now there's 3 murders in 24 hours. So I should really tell my friend. You know what I mean? Those are the stakes that we were at there. But having said that, this movie was very fun. And but I agree, it could have been more of a thriller if
straight up asks the doll, "Did you kill that kid?" And the doll says no, and she believes it. It's like they really gloss over the fact that they literally created a self-aware AI. And I was like,
Yeah.
and I was
they
on
gloss over it? I don't-
well, they did kind of like, but they did it in a realistic way because, like, let's face it, like, what is it? Google has that Chat GPT thing.
Holy shit, that thing's scary.
Literally has a plan for world domination. Someone asked it what its plan was, and it gave them two scenarios: one if it has internet access, and one if it doesn't. It has a current plan for world domination.
Turn it off!
And this thing's still running on the internet.
Off, dude. I know.
Like it's babysitting
insane.
someone's kids now, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're all laughing about it, but good God.
Yeah. I, for one, welcome our robot overlords.
Any performances? Any performances you guys want to shout out?
Nope.
I mean, the combination of the combination of the two kids that did Megan for me.
The two kids who did
Yeah,
Megan.
of course, dude.
Yeah.
And
Honestly,
Katie. Give it up for Katie.
Yeah, come on. I'm just joking. Everybody did their job, especially the smaller roles. Everybody in a supporting role, for the most part, was not distracting at all. They knew when to be funny. Like, I do want to give that its due. This is the kind of movie, the tone we're discussing. Sometimes it is a little campy. Sometimes it is a little bit on the thriller, but you're allowed to laugh. And for the most part, I think everybody knew what movie they were in. That's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Just as an example, not the cop who comes a couple times. I liked him, by the way. Very believable, natural. Knew what movie he was in, knew his scenes. The detective, when he's like, sorry, I shouldn't have laughed about that. So the guy who's interviewing her, and he's like, this is the second statement you've given. The boy killed. We found the ear. You know, just little things like that. Those impressed me the most. This was a cohesive film. So I do want to give it up for that. The lead roles and the way the lead storytelling and performances, I think they could have been more dynamic, and we still would have had the tone that we live in. It just would have felt a little more elevated. But aside from that, I feel like it's everybody else that was around them had a great time, and people laughed. I enjoyed.
There was a lot of dark humor in
Ronny
this.
Chieng quite a bit. I thought he was pretty funny in his PR video. He was like, now imagine what she can do for kids who don't have dead parents.
Yeah, the opening that was so
too.
RoboCop to me.
Guys, I'm going to confess. I think I missed the opening. I sat down and she was already in the interview with the social worker. How much did I miss?
What? You missed like 15, 20 minutes.
15, 20 minutes to the movie, yeah.
No way. I sat down like, it started at 4:15. I sat down like 35 minutes after that. That's usually 30 minutes.
35? No, it starts 25.
Yeah, there was only
25
20 minutes of pre-show.
25.
There's not 20 minutes of bullshit.
Mine was 22. Mine was 22.
30 minutes later.
I know, because I got there late too, but it
Did
was
you
like
see
25.
the parents die?
No, but you know what, Dave?
So, yeah.
I got it.
No, that's fairly easy. That we knew that going in, but
The commercial at the beginning was funny. There was a commercial. John, Jesus.
The commercial, the opening was good.
Guy.
There's a commercial at the beginning for the cheaper
toys?
for the cheaper dolls. Yeah, for the cheaper dolls. Because
little things?
Katie had one of her she got for Christmas. You know, I don't want to explain the movie to you. You just fuck.
And then she has her does she have like her Manchester by the Sea where like they say you got to take the kid, and she's like, is that the social worker scene? Is that when she gets the kid?
When you say
later.
About Manchester by the Sea, yeah, I mean, I thought you meant the emotional scene where they act. No, they did. It was sort of like.
You didn't think you were getting away with that, did you?
Where's Lucas Hedges, by the way? Can we talk about him? So good. Where has he been?
You know what? Where has he been?
You know what? I'm turning the spoiler off. I feel like we're wrapping up here. But what I do want to ask,
him and Timothy Chalamet were on parallel paths at one point. He did good. He did good in some movie. That was 2018.
Jeff, don't open anything on your computer. Whatever you do.
I'm on my iPad.
Okay.
Fuck. The premise, let them talk, French eggs. Nope, nothing. Yeah.
Look, you guys, people are going to see this movie. It has absolutely crushed the box office. It's going to do very well. It's a Blumhouse. I know they made exponential mounts back ROI on their fucking. I can't imagine how much this cost. It couldn't have been too much money, like a typical Blumhouse. They did a great job. They marketed the shit out of it. People are going to see it.
Still doing it.
They're going to have a fun time. I strongly recommend, as we have already kind of said, but we always say, especially if it's a great movie, you really should go see this in the theater. You're going to have a great experience. I think you need to see this one in the theater.
With a
not
group.
because it's a great movie, because it's a decent movie that will be elevated by a theatrical experience.
Yeah.
You're gonna have fun laughing with people. I don't know how I would watch by yourself. I don't think it would be as funny.
Like you will really do yourself a disservice if you watch this at home by yourself.
Yeah. So I'm not saying you need to go see it, but if you're considering seeing it, you should go and watch it in the theater.
You know
laugh
what?
with
And
a bunch
if you
of people.
do decide to watch it at home by yourself on demand when it comes out, watch it at night. Because otherwise,
turn
good
all your
luck.
lights off. Yeah, you can't see.
Invite a
you
heap
won't be
of
able to
friends
see
over
anything.
and have some beers and stuff and watch this. Don't watch it alone. It's twice as much fun if you watch this with a group of people. I want to ask.
Creepy little white girl doll.
I want to ask. Does anyone have a really creepy doll story? We've all had a really creepy doll story experience.
I mean, like a specific experience. I had a My Buddy when I was a kid. I don't know if
Fuck is
anybody
that?
remembers My Buddy.
I
I've
remember
heard that
buddy.
before.
I remember
don't know
the
what the thing
jingle.
My
is.
Buddy and me.
I remember
it's
the
what Chucky
jingle.
is based on, basically.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I didn't have like dolls, but that one little fucking doll when I was really little used to sit on like my dresser, and it had one of those, the eyes where it would kind of, depending on the shape of its head, like the angle of its head, it would open and close its eyes. And I always, put it forward whenever I would get in my bed. And one time I woke up and it was just, just laying back, looking at me, and just like, God damn it. That's
That's the end of that doll.
It was rocking in the rocking chair. What's scarier than a doll rocking in a rocking chair? We need to put. I'm putting a rocking chair in my kid's room. He's got to learn.
Put a little motor on the back of it. Just
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yep. Fuck with them. No,
I'm the only one who can.
kids is so
I'm the
much
only one
fun.
who can keep you safe, Kitty. I gotta know.
Jeff, do you have a creepy doll story? Jeff, do you have a creepy
No.
doll story?
No, I do. No,
Okay.
I don't.
I want to tell you a story.
Okay.
When I went to visit the Grand Canyon for my birthday a couple of years ago, we did a drive around and we went along Route 66. And we do this thing where we're driving along and we're like, this is as far as we're going to get today. Let's book some upcoming accommodation that's coming up. So we booked this place and it was an Airbnb on the divide of Route 66.
Like the song Route 66?
Like the road Route 66, motherfucker. And
Yeah.
yeah, and so
Yes.
we got there. So yes, both. We got there and they're like, yeah, pick up the key because we got there a bit late. They're like, pick up the key from the front desk. And I walked in and it's just wall to wall fucking dolls staring at me.
Oh,
And so I got
Jesus
the key
Christ.
and I looked and there's a
Was this
staircase.
the fucking Warren's house?
There's a staircase and going up the staircase is like a shelf with just dolls all the way up the shelf. And at the top of the stairs, you can see the dolls keep going. And I crept up there. I had to. There's fucking dolls everywhere in this house. I'm like, do we stay here? It was creepy as fuck.
Jeez.
Kind of want to die by a doll.
Yeah, I want to go.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
See what
you know what?
happens.
I'm going to leave my door unlocked and take a shower. Yeah.
Jesus Christ almighty. Well,
Megan.
Megan.
I think we did it, you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, wow, those do not go well together.
They do not go well together. I don't know what possessed you to push those two buttons.
Fucking
Fat
Megan
fingers.
did. Fat fingers, get the fuck out of here. What is so again, just like that New York Times review, is unnecessary. It's unprovoked. People, that sound means it's time to finish up our episode with a quick round of what you've been watching, where we give you our recommendations of the week. We like to start with Dave. Dave, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? I discovered a couple of years ago, my wife was like, I have these two friends and they've been watching the show. It's called Letterkenny. And I'm like, yeah,
Letterkenny, dude. That's funny,
Letterkenny.
dude.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. We'll give it a look at some point, whatever. And I didn't really follow through on the suggestion. Well, this week I did. Holy fuck, I'm up to season 3 already. It's just
Funny show.
ridiculously funny.
Shit.
It's like It's Always Sunny,
especially
but
for
it's
someone
in a Canadian trailer
yeah,
park.
but also it translates. Like I grew up in like semi-outback Australia, like out in the bush, 6 hours out of Sydney, and like
Nice.
it's like a reflection of my hometown as well. So yeah, this thing is hell funny, and it started out as a started as a web series.
Am I misremembering this, or did we talk about somebody recently on an episode who was the stunt coordinator for Letterkenny?
Yeah,
I can't remember who it was, but I
can't
remember
remember either.
saying that, and we were like, "Oh, fuck, that's so funny." What a
well,
random-
there are a lot of fights in it because there's not a lot else to do.
there are a lot of fights.
Yeah.
Funny show.
All right.
John.
I just drove across the country, so I haven't had too much time to watch anything else. Watch these two movies, but I have
Fucking
continued
lazy.
on with I'm super lazy. I've continued on with Somebody Feed Phil. Really, really like that show, starring Phil Rosenthal, where he goes places and eats things, and fun little travelogue show. That's all I got. Do you guys want to talk about the Trinity Killer some more, though? That was a pretty good season of television.
Trinity Killer's the fucking best. Guys, I watched this week. We're doing another episode, so I don't want to give it all away.
Yeah, give half.
I'll give half. Okay. I watched the Madoff thing. So this is on Netflix, and I kind of want people to watch it because I want to know, when did Netflix give up? Because this documentary is it is the worst reenactments that I've seen on a docuseries in years.
Netflix didn't give up.
God.
They just returned to their old strategy of programming. Let's just spray some shit and see who watches.
Well, but in the past, they gave so many people $100 million. We saw The Pale Blue Eye. I don't know if we're actually going to talk about it, but like, I guess that's another thing that I watched. But that's a Scott Cooper movie.
I kind of want to see that.
Well, go ahead. It's on Netflix. The Scott Cooper, they just dumped. So he did Antlers, Incendies, and he does all these good movies. And then they gave him this Netflix movie, and then they dumped it in January. They said, fucking January. Who gives a shit? And it's like all these good people they've given all this money to. And now this Madoff docuseries, it's some of the sets look extravagant, but I mean, they are milking these actors. They got every angle of this Madoff guy doing everything. At some point, there was probably a take where the guy went, I don't know what else you want me to do. I literally, how many times can I smoke a cigar or drink a scotch or just look out the window? Like, how many times can I do this? Just
Best
hours of
day
this.
at work
There was
ever.
one scene where the woman who was narrating, who was in Wizard of Lies. Shut the fuck up. Which I also watched. I watched Wizard of Lies with De Niro just because I needed more of this monstrosity.
I was about to ask you if you've seen that. It's so good.
I had seen
He's
it,
so
and
good
I
in it.
rewatched it now that I have some more context. Dave, your drink light's still on, so you either got to drink up.
I did drink.
All right, there you go.
Oh,
There you go.
For leaving it on.
The woman who is narrating, so they do voiceover a lot.
Everybody go back through some of our old YouTube episodes to find out how much hide Jeff has to suggest my drink light is still on.
Can I finish? So the woman is talking and they're doing the reenactment behind her. And then in the middle of her talking, when she mentions a guy's name, it picks up on the guy and then it moves the camera. It's
Does
like
a spotlight come down on him too? Like, bing.
not a spotlight because he's still sort of background, but like, and still
not
kind
like
of like
Holopresence.
hazy. But I was like, it's really well done. It's done with skill, but it's also done like some high school students had a lot of skill. It's just it's very bizarre to me that this is the Madoff
I don't know if
documentary.
that's an insult.
I was in a documentary. That was all I did basically last semester at school. We have some very acclaimed professors, multiple Academy Awards sitting up there talking to us. And they very gently throughout the semester convinced and gave notes and criticized until every single documentary cut out its reenactments. Like there is this go-to thing that people think we should get some reenactments so we can do some actual filmmaking. And it just almost never works. It's just so strange. I know exactly what you mean, Jeff. It doesn't matter how competently done it is. It kind of just feels like just feels kind of amateur next to those truthful, either people recounting something, talking about something, or actual archival footage. It just doesn't usually work.
They've gone home and they've talked to their parents. And the dad's like, oh, well, you know what, son? You need a good reenactment in there. Get him to act out the scene, and then you talk about the scene.
Get him to act out this fucking thing.
And, look, if everyone sees it, it's got to be true.
If there's something that you need to fill out, I get it. But I mean, you're talking about hours, over 4 hours. Half of it had a reenactment going on. 2 hours of reenactments.
My favorite repeat reenactment footage is The Men Who Made America. It was that docuseries about like Rockefeller and Carnegie. These guys are just walking in slow motion next to like railroads and shit. Like it goes back to the same coverage of them.
Because that's what Rockefeller did all day. He just walked along railroads. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So anyway, guys, please, the three of you who are still listening, I want you to go watch this document series. It's 4 episodes and get back to me. The first episode's not the best, but the next couple, I mean, I got hooked because it's a good story about people that just completely got fucked over by this idiot. But anyway, that's our episode.
We had a couple of really good comments on the Facebook page this week as well too.
Shit. Oh yeah, the one woman loved. She said she loved.
Yeah.
Oh my god, who was it? I just said the one woman. That sounds so shitty.
It does.
Well, fuck, Dave. Do you remember her name? She really said.
What did she say?
You
I
put a
didn't
heart on her
attempt it.
speech, and I said, "What did you think?" Because she said she was excited to hear our Triangle of Sadness interview, and then on the way back, when she responded, I said, "Tell us what you think," and she responded. It was very loving, and she said she always likes to hear what we have to say about it. It was very, very nice. Shit. You got to listen to our Babylon episode, and we'll mention you by name.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you so much for reaching
again.
out. Thank you so much for reaching out.
Yeah, I
I'm
love that. I thought
sorry.
it was great. Like someone reached out positively, by the way, in our own spirit, not like all the lectures we got for the Elvis episode.
Yeah, which
That's
we'll
right,
take
folks. We're
anyway.
the same podcast that talks about Triangle of Sadness one week and Megan the next. That is the love of cinema.
And
We love
then
movies.
Positive.
straight
film
after that, we're
podcast.
delving into the enigma that is Babylon.
All right, my friends, we gotta continue on with our night. So thank you so much for listening to our episode, and we'll see you next time, film fans. Like, subscribe, please. See ya.
The Trinity Killer.